What's up, Wealth Nation? Have you acquired a few extra bucks in your bank account this season with taxes or the stimulus check or whatever? Make sure that you watch until the very end of this video so that you can make sure you know what to do with the funds. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And this has been a very important topic of conversation because there seems to be a lot of people getting money that they maybe hadn't planned for. And when you haven't planned for your money, it comes to you as a surprise on what you should do with those funds. So this video is to help you maybe kind of peel back a few layers, answer a few questions as to what you should do with those extra funds.
Absolutely. So let's have a completely genuine and honest conversation. Some of the things that we're going to say you may or may not be in agreement with, or we may hurt some feelings. But again, we're just trying to be honest and have a real talk moment. All right. So gather around, ladies and gentlemen, pull up a seat. Let's talk about the stimulus and or your tax refund that's coming sometime soon if you haven't received it already. Now, if you are looking forward to your stimulus check and or a tax refund, then 9 times out of 10, you probably fall in the category where you are one population of America that is a paycheck away from having a financial hardship.
And when also one paycheck away, but you also overpaid for your taxes. So there's two problems that exist. One is that some people may not have enough money, but some of those same people who don't have enough money also gave the government way too much money. So they've given them their money back.
Absolutely. Isn't that interesting? Because I don't think I really put those two, that information together when I was looking forward to my tax refund back in the day. I was like, ooh, extra money's coming in. But I didn't stop and realize, like, wait a second, I literally gave the government, who is already $1 trillion, several $1 trillion in debt. I gave them too much money and now they're giving me money back. How does that work?
But, you know, first off, paycheck to paycheck really isn't as bad as it used to be, because for the most part, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's normal.
Yeah, normal. Yeah, it shouldn't be normal. But going back to the point of, if you are in the mindset of looking forward to these extra funds that are coming your way, whether it's a stimulus check and or your tax refund, then you need to make sure that you are doing the best thing possible with this money, that you're not spending it, and that you're using this money to set you up for financial success.
So first thing first, what is the first thing we should do with additional funds that we get into our household?
I think after, assuming that we have these extra funds, right, and we already have our income coming in to pay for the bills, we put all of that money in savings.
Yeah.
Like pretend that it's not even there and just tuck it away in savings. Because again, knowing the different categories that Americans live in these days, if you are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have savings, this is your opportunity to give you a little bit of cushion, give you a little bit of wiggle room, some breathing room. So that way, if something comes up, you have money available to utilize.
Yeah.
We never recommend when you come into extra money, such as this scenario, that you invest it or that you use it frivolously, of course not, or that you use it in some other way than setting yourself up in a savings account. And the reason why we say this is because this money is not reoccurring. This money isn't guaranteed. So if you put your money into, if you put the stimulus check or you put it or your tax refund into an investment, how are you going to continue to invest these funds year after year, year after year? The refund is never a guarantee. The stimulus check, as we know, is not a guarantee. And so if you're going to invest, you need to have cash flow, consistent cash flow available. So a lot of times people reach out to us and say, hey, Carmen and Darius, I want to start a policy with my stimulus check. And we're like, oh, nope. Nope, we would love to help you, but that is not the smartest idea, because this thing is a reoccurring payment that you have to pay every single year. And we need to make sure that you can afford the policy first and foremost.
Right. So let's preface. If you don't have a plan, then the very first thing you should do is put your money in savings until you have one. If you do have a plan, there's nothing for you to really think about or consider, because every dollar that comes into your household, you have a direction for it or a plan for it.
Yeah.
The thing is, the money that comes into your household, it was a part of a plan in the first place. It was a part of a plan from your employer to send you that check. It's a part of the U.S. government to send you that stimulus package in order to stimulate the economy. It was a part of the government to send you that refund for your taxes. It's all a part of a plan. So we should have a plan for our money, regardless of how much money comes in or where it comes from. Have a plan for it. And for us, those of us who don't have a plan, put it in savings and get a plan first.
Yes.
Totally. Because if you don't, then it's going to be spent frivolously. It's going to be spent for things that don't add value to us. And I would say the third thing, the first and second thing is plan and savings. The third thing would be high interest debt. High interest debt. And the reason being is we spend more money when we lose money than when we earn money. So Warren Buffett's one of Warren Buffett's rules is to never lose money. Rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1. It costs us a lot more money to lose money because we not only do we lose that money plus interest, but we also lose our ability to make more money.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that there's always like a combination of how you can approach this. So like we said, put that money in savings. If you do have debt, then maybe the opportunity for you is to pay down a little bit of debt, and that money that you would be paying towards debt, you park that in your savings account and you make, very conscious decision that you're going to continue to pay yourself every single month. So that money is tucked aside so that you have, again, cash available should you need it in the event that something comes up. Because again, we just have to remember every time you make a financial decision, how is this going to affect me next month? How is this going to affect me in 6 months, a year from now? So when you think about the grand scheme of things, how can I have the biggest opportunity in putting myself up? It's either putting it in savings, paying off debt, and then making sure that you're redirecting those debt payments to yourself so that you have that cash on hand.
Right. And then the next step is then investing. After you've done all those things ahead of time, after you make sure savings is taken care of, make sure your plan is taken care of, make sure you pay off high interest debt, that's taken care of. Then you start looking into investing, but not just any investing. There's a series of things that has to happen when you think about investing, because you have to be educated first. You have to be educated on what you invest in. You don't lose money until you lose control of it. And not being educated on what you're doing with your money, it's a high probability that you will end up losing money because you don't know what you're doing.
It's very, very important that you all get this, because we've run into it. We know many of people that have run into it too. And that's why we want to make sure that you understand, like, there's steps to this. There's always steps to this. And sometimes we go all the way to the top step and we forget step 1, 2, and 3. And it's all about building blocks. So again, I think the thing that we just really don't know and or are educated on is the importance of making sure that we are covered first and foremost.
Right.
Because we're always going to pay somebody else first, right? We pay the electric bill first, we pay the water bill first, but we never take care of ourselves first.
Pay our taxes first.
Yeah, always, or our retirement funds.
Unless you have a business, you pay your taxes last.
that we're not going, a retirement account that you're not going to see for umpteen years on end.
56 and a half.
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those things that we need to make sure that we take a moment, don't go too quickly, and just bring some logic to this, because money is not emotional, and we can't make emotional decisions on money because our livelihood is affected by it.
Oh, you sound like me. That will happen when you hang around me too much.
I guess so. You rub off on people.
Now, the significant thing about investing is that it creates cash flow.
Yes.
When we get a large lump sum of money, that's not cash flow. It's just a lump sum of money. We have to figure out how to keep that faucet on, keep that flow going. And the only way we can keep that flow going is if we invest.
Yeah.
We haven't said anything about putting money into a policy, because putting money into a policy, you need to have cash flow. That's why we always say you need to pay yourself first consistently, because that consistency is what you need to grow your banking system, not a lump sum of money.
No, absolutely. And going back to investing. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, right? With investing, the point that you made, whenever you start an investment, you need to make sure that you have money backed up. And when I say backed up, I mean, like, you have some in the vault to make sure that you can continue the investments. If you just have the lump sum of money, like Gary said, you just have a lump sum of money. We need flow. We need a faucet. Think of money as a faucet. And if you turn the faucet on and have to turn it off immediately, then it isn't an opportunity to invest. We need to start building so that we can continue to keep that faucet on, which is going to allow our investments to flourish.
Right. Now, there's different types of investments that we can get into. For those of us who don't have a lot of money, maybe the stock market is something that you can invest in, because you don't need a lot of money up front, or you don't you can use a lump sum of money to get started with.
Totally.
But for other investments like real estate, where you have to have a large amount of money up front, or especially when you want to own the entire property or the entire loan, you have to have money up front.
Absolutely.
And for those of us who just want to invest a little bit of money at a time, maybe real estate isn't ideal for you.
Yeah. And no, keep going. I don't want to interrupt your train of thought.
Okay, perfect. So the whole point of investing is to create cash flow. And when we give up control of our money, we can also, in some cases, give up the opportunity to earn cash flow. The whole point of investing is to earn cash flow. And if we would be penalized for maybe taking our money from, let's say, a stock portfolio, you can put money into your stock portfolio, but when you use that money, when you need that money, that's when you end up paying capital gains taxes. So you want to position yourself not only where you can afford the capital gain taxes, but you can also position yourself so that you can reuse the money over and over again. So I gave that example because for us, we have investments, real estate investments. And when we get a large amount of money, they don't go into real estate investments. They go into paying off our loans to our insurance policy, because those funds are still growing. The money that's outstanding is also out working. So a lot of times what we do is we play this kind of like this, it's a cycle. All your money has to cycle through your system, and we have a system in place for any additional funds that is above and beyond what we have allocated for savings. It goes into our banking system. It doesn't go to buy another policy initially, because it needs to be generating cash flow first.
Yeah. And so if you all are new to the Wealth Nation channel, what Darius and I teach is a concept called infinite banking, where we utilize whole life insurance to finance our lifestyle. So if you want to learn more about that, then click on the link below in the description so that we can teach you all about the banking concept. Now, before you started going into investing, one thing that I wanted to add was, whenever we think about investing, there always needs to be some sort of guarantee. Where we run into issues all the time is that we get into investments that don't provide us any guarantee, and we're taught to be okay with losing money. That should never be the case. If you speak to any billionaire or multimillionaire, they are not going to be okay with losing money. So that doesn't mean that you as the consumer should be okay with losing money.
Right.
There is always has to be a guarantee. And if there is not a guarantee with your investments, then you need to look at a different opportunity, because every time that you lose money, you're losing your ability to earn more money. You're losing the ability for the next generation to earn more money, because if you think about every loss that you have, right, how many more wins do you have to gain to get back up to where you started from? So start thinking about those things. And we didn't know that. We were totally okay with parking money in retirement accounts and accepting a loss until all of a sudden 2008 came around and broke everybody. And then all of a sudden you had to perk up and say, wait a second, is this really how it should be? I'm not really sure about that. And we see, the economy is constantly turning and evolving. So like we said, make sure that if you are investing, you have some sort of guarantee or collateral. Never losing money. It is never lose money. It's not okay. Now to piggyback off what Darius was saying, when we think about our banking systems, we particularly have a system and how this works to go back to, what do we do with extra money? Whatever we have extra money that comes our way, naturally, of course, we're thinking, where can we put this money? Where are we going to invest it? What's going on? But we look at our sheet of investments, of funds, where money is, and we figure out first and foremost, where do we need to plug the holes, for lack of a better term, of where can we put this money? So in our instance, like Darius just said, we utilize our policies to make investments. And if we are investing, that means we probably have a policy loan outstanding working for us. So then if we come into some extra money, we need to go, wait a second, do we have a hole that we need to fill somewhere in our banking system? Because if you get a loan from the insurance company, they are charging you a fee. So now if we come into extra money, then we can say, oh, we need to plug policy number 2 over here, so that we aren't continuing to pay interest to the insurance company, if that makes sense. So we're trying to utilize this extra money to pay off policy loans, so that Well, one, our investments are already going to be cash flowing anyway, but two, we don't have money that's going out with the cost of a policy loan.
Right. And what that does is it frees up cash flow so that we can then start considering getting a new policy. So let's
or using that cash value to make another investment.
So let's paint a better picture here. We don't have anything to show our screen. That's what we have the Wealth Nation Money School for. But when we get additional funds, like Carmen said, it goes into plugging a hole because we have outstanding loans with the insurance company because we use those funds to invest.
Yes.
So we use an OPM to invest. Our investments are cash flowing. And normally what we would do is we would use the cash flow to plug the hole into the for our policy. We use the investment to pay back the policy loan.
Yeah.
But when we get a large amount of money, we can put that into the outstanding loan so that it's paid off sooner, which means that frees up more money for cash flow from our cash flow that can't fill a hole in the policy. So we have to consider getting more investments, or we have to consider getting more policies to grow our system.
Yeah. And when we're considering more policies, again, we have to make sure that if we have money coming in, can we afford to maintain the policy in the future for all of the years that follow this insurance policy? So again, just making sure that you understand if you are entertaining investments or policies or whatever it is, what do we have in backstock to ensure that these investments and policies can continue to be paid?
Right.
Now, when we talked about in the beginning of this video, we specifically just said a tax refund and or stimulus check. This can be any extra money that comes your way, folks, right? It can be a proceeds from a death benefit. It could be a windfall. It could be profit from a real estate investment or any investment. Any extra funds that you're sitting on. We always have to do this evaluation first and foremost to see where can we plug the holes. So we're going to look at our savings account. Do we need to put some money there? If so, we need to deposit some money in the savings. Then we move to the next thing. If we have a policy, do we have a loan outstanding? If not, do we have the ability to put it in additional paid up additions to throw a little bit extra cash on the policy? Maybe we'll do that. And if that's not the case, then now we need to entertain, for us, are we getting another policy? Can we maintain it with X amount of funds that have come our way? And if not, then we're tucking those funds again back into the savings account until it makes sense for us to start another policy again.
Right. And that just goes to show you that there needs to be a plan for your money. And when you have plans for your money, you make more money. And regardless of what comes your way, there's always a way to turn that into cash flow because of the system that you have in place.
Exactly. Now, if you all are vibing with us, go ahead and give us a thumbs up on this video. Thank you for hanging out with us. We just felt like it was perfect timing to talk about what's happening right now with money, because right around this time, we're getting a lot of phone calls and emails coming our way saying, hey, I got a refund. Let me start this policy now. And we're like, pump the brakes. We said that in unison, like, hold up. We need to make sure that there's a plan, because for us, we never want to set you all up for a situation that you might not be able to handle.
Right. Because we know what it's like 5-6 years after having your policy or having multiple policies. We really don't want you to be having some of the conversations that we've had in the past because of us ourselves not having a plan. So our goal is just to educate you and let you know that a plan is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important to have a plan, even before you talk to us, so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page. When you talk with one of our agents and you want to get started with infinite banking, make sure that you have a plan in place so that we can all be on the same page, so that you're working towards those plans.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is your investments, whether it be banking, whatever it is, it's not going to change your life. What I mean by that specifically is it will change your life in some aspects, but what's really going to change everything for you is your mindset and how you view money and how you apply money. So a lot of times people get involved in banking, or they get involved in Bitcoin or some, specific investments, thinking that all of a sudden they're going to be, millionaires and their life's going to change. And that's really not the case, because you have to have, first and foremost, the good habits in place. if you don't have that, then you need to check that when it comes to your financial habits. The next thing is discipline. You need to have the discipline to be able to say, this money is going in savings and I'm not touching it. Or this money is going into my investment and I'm not going to touch it. Because how many times do you drop money into an investment and then realize something came up and now you got to pull from the investment? Remember, money has to sit in order for you to earn money. And then the next thing is just making sure that you can, you have the fortitude to see it through.
Right.
Because sometimes people get involved in investments for the wrong reasons and recognize maybe after 6 months or a year, oh, I don't really want to do this anymore. I'm not into it. And now you got to start all the way back at the starting line. So that's why I want to be honest and be like, look, if you're thinking that a policy is going to do it for you, if you're thinking that Bitcoin or whatever it is going to do it for you, it's not. It first and foremost starts with you. You are the biggest asset. Thank you, Caleb Williams, for that information. One of our homies in this space as well. He's always talking about how you are the biggest asset, and how you can become the biggest asset for yourself and your family is the information that is in that beautiful noggin of yours. And what you do with it.
Yeah, the number one rule I personally believe is, if we want to generate wealth or make money, we have to have the ability to keep money in rotation, keep money moving. It's all about how we're able to keep that money circulating in our own space. Because when we think about how long money stays in our household, whenever we get paid, that money then goes back out to bills. Totally. It goes back out to pay someone or give it to a family or friend who needs it. Because we aren't able to hold on to that money for an extended period of time, we don't have it. Yeah. But those of us who can keep money rotating amongst ourselves, amongst our own system, is helps us create wealth. Absolutely. The example that Carmen and I gave, we have a plan in place for it goes to savings. And if we max out our savings, then it goes to paying off a policy loan
or debt.
And if it doesn't go towards a policy loan, then it's generating income for us with some type of investment. So we have a system in which our money continues to circulate amongst us.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do really quickly is, before we hop off, I'm going to jump into the questions that we have on this live chat. So again, if you all are still with us, then give us a thumbs up on this video. We really appreciate this engagement. It's going to help with the algorithm for YouTube so we can continue to be shown out there in the world of YouTube. So let's see. The very first thing says, does investing in stocks and crypto help? I believe that we already addressed this, where we were saying, if you don't have the funds to keep up with your investments, then you need to tuck it away in savings until you have enough money saved up where you can make this a continuous effort.
Yeah, stocks and crypto is great if you understand it. So make sure that you're educated. If you're educated, then and putting your time, then it's a great option for you.
Yeah. The next thing says 90% of, or pay tithes then save. Absolutely. 95% of the world is living paycheck to paycheck. So what are the pawns going to be? Everyone can't be a businessman, businesswoman. Very good point. Not everyone is going to be a business owner. So what do? You've got to save money. You got to create cash flow, and you have to make sure that you are always covered first and foremost, and that you have enough money in the bank so that you can continue to fund whatever it is that you're trying to do.
You said everybody can't or everybody won't. Now, there's a difference. I think everybody has the ability to generate money or to be a business person, because you are already a business person. We're not telling you to do anything different than what you're already doing. Yeah. What we're saying is just to manage your money better.
Yeah. And when you think about money should be a business. So technically you are a businessman or a businesswoman if you're taking your money seriously and putting enough respect on that money so that you can treat it seriously and treat it like a business.
You are a business.
Yeah. The next thing is, what about using money to pay down debt? Exactly. Absolutely. We mentioned that. So if you want to pay down debt. Don't get back into debt, right? Keep that discipline, and whatever those minimum payments were that you were paying on debt, pay that to your savings account every single month. Just redirect those funds.
Right. Next question is, I have 20K in savings. Should I put that into my whole life and borrow it if I need it? Absolutely not. I don't think you should, because you might have 20K in your in cash right now, but who's to say you'll have that the next time your premium comes due? Let's say even if you start let's say $5,000 policy, that's 4 years. But what are you going to do in the next 4 years to make sure that that income is coming in on a annual basis so you can maintain that policy. So if you have a habit that allowed you to put 20K in your policy, make a policy based on that habit, not on the 20K. So if your habit is $1,000 a month that allow you to get to that point, leave the money in savings and start a policy $1,000 a month.
Yeah, figure out if 20K is the mark for you, figure out what is the consistent amount of money that you can maintain with this policy. If you're talking about, should I dump this 20K into an existing policy loan? Yes, do it. But if you're saying, should I use 20K to start a policy with, figure out what is the amount of money that you can consistently contribute every year towards that policy. Great question. And thank you for following us. We love that you're hooked on the channel. Yep. The videos have taught me so much about being an agent. Thank you all so much. We try to share all the information that we wish we knew throughout our journey. Small World found y'all on YouTube, and turns out y'all know my mentors, Jay, Samira, and Mark Anthony. They're great friends of ours. Shout out to Trailer Cash Academy. We love mobile homes. We have mobile homes ourselves.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old son is now learning about investing. Amazing. Perfect. It's all about getting the youth involved. Let's get them so that they can start doing something different for their generation. I want to be like y'all. Health, wealth, beautiful couple. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see what else. Real talk, mindset has to change. Don't use money to invest either.
Don't use rent money to invest.
Oh.
No, do not use your rent money to invest. That is good advice.
Yeah, you mentioned putting money into investment. What specific investment are you referring to?
So we like lending because we can control how long that money takes for it to come back. So we enjoy lending on real estate. And all of our investments right now are on real estate, which we can control how long that money comes back.
Yeah.
So we like that because of the cash flow.
But more specifically, what we're into is not going to be what you're into. Right. So whenever you think about investing, you have to invest money in something that you can commit to and something that you are dedicated to studying. Do not just invest in something because we say to do it or because your mom says to do it. You better know the ins and outs of that investment all day long because your money is the one that's tied into it.
Yeah, we've been doing this for years, even before banking. So we understand it. I would say a lot better than we lead on.
Yeah. The next thing is explain infinite banking. Do you need to buy $10,000 cash policy in order to build cash? What I would say is check out the Wealth Nation channel. We have over 200 videos on infinite banking, breaking it down. So if you want to learn really what that's all about, then I would say definitely watch our channel and take your money seriously, put some respect on it. Yes. Use stimulus to start a policy. No, that's what this whole video is about. So go ahead and make sure you rewatch this video so that you can learn all of that. So we're getting into the weeds of whole life insurance. And again, that's what our channel is about. So we just want to thank you all so much for everything that you continue to do, your viewership. We really appreciate it. And if you want to continue to learn about infinite banking, either click on the link in the description so you can watch our masterclass and learn about this whole process, or check out our channel. And remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.